Well, I wanted to have this video kind of be a frequently asked questions about like, just things that I've gotten in the classroom through the years, or just things I've noticed myself when dealing with like that almost it seems like everybody has. The first question that most people ask about like is like case sensitive? So in other words, if I ask this question, find all products with an A in the name, and so I write this query, will it return those products who have a lowercase a? Okay, so this is actually not an easy question. Clearly, you see here that both capital A's, let's like this one only has lowercase a's here. So sure, that does bring back both capital and lowercase a's. Okay, but it's not the like operator that does that. Okay, it is the actual column that defines whether it deals with case sensitivity. Okay, so let's just say this: like is case agnostic. It doesn't care. Okay, like doesn't have anything to do with whether you're dealing with a capital A or a lowercase a. It is the collation that defines the case sensitivity. Now, really, at this point, we would be remiss if we didn't also discuss accent sensitivity, case and accent sensitivity. Like, for example, what if we had products with an A with an angstrom over it, you know, the little circle, or an A with an accent on it, like a French style, or you know, any other type of an A that had an accent on it? Would that get returned by this? Like is accent agnostic. It is the collation of the column that matters. Now, I'm not here to teach you about collations. That is outside the scope of really what this class is. I'm going to talk to you in really the next demo video that we do, not the next exercise video, but the next demo video. Well, I'm going to talk to you about how to define the collations in your query. But collations are sort of outside of the scope of this course. We touch base on those in the programming class. We'll talk about those just at a high level here. If you want to see what the collation is, it matters what the collation of this column is for this query. So here's what I would do. I would come over here. I would take a look. If I go down to the name column, you can't really see what the collation is right here, right? Doesn't tell you that. But if I have the access, I can script it as a create. And in the script, the default settings are to also script the collation. So it doesn't script it out here. I think I turned my settings off. In the tools and options, there is somewhere where you set up the scripting. Let's see if I can find it here real quick. There, scripting, script collation. Include collation is set to false, so I will set that to true, and I will rescript it. So you may not have seen this, but notice that it ends for all of the character-based data types. They just have not null. So now that I've told it to include the collation in my script, we'll script it again. I may have to restart the editor. I'm not sure if this is one. No. There you go. You see the collate clause is now being included. Okay, so this particular collation is the Latin one. This is the code page 1152. It's the Latin one general. And it is case insensitive. That's what the CI stands for. And it is accent sensitive. Okay, so I know my collation. And I can go back over here and say, over here, name column collation is that. And so I know that because it says case insensitive, that this is going to return both a lowercase and an uppercase a. Okay, had it said CS here, then no, this would have only found capital A's. Okay, so that's the difference, CI versus CS. So in the United States, I don't know what it's like where you are. I mean, we have customers in 170 plus countries. It could be anything here. I mean, it could be Polish, Russian, Chinese, whatever. But the CI and the AS, you really need to pay attention to those particular ones. Okay? All right, so let's move on to another one here. Another frequently asked question that people get. So I'll write it up here. Is like case accent sensitive? Okay? And that was kind of our answer for that one. It's case and sensitive, accent agnostic. It doesn't really care. So the next question that I asked either myself or I get people asking, yeah, I'm trying to think of how to phrase it, sorry. If I try to think, does like match the first or last character if I include the percent sign? This is one that maybe bears a demo before you really understand it. So for example, we'll do the exact same thing that we had up here. So we want to find all products with an A in the name. So here's the question. You have said it can have any number of positions before the letter A, and it can have any number of positions after the letter A. But what about names that start with the letter A? Would they be included? What about names that end with the letter A, where A is actually the last position? You said that there could be anything after it. Well, what about ones that end in A? Yes, they will all come back. Okay, so this will pick up, so returns products, names that, three things. That A, one, start with A. Let me just put this on a separate line. 2, contain an A in the second through n-1 position. Sorry to get all geeky on you, but basically n means the length of the string. Okay, so, and then 3, end in A. So I'll separate these. So that may not have been a question that you had considered yet, but it does. It's a good question. It does find an A anywhere in the name. So we'll play around with a couple of examples here. So like we'll find all products that have an A. You can see that, well, here A is found in multiple positions, but it would have found either one. Are there any? I doubt there's really any that have an A as the final position. But like, let's say that we wanted to find things that had an 8 in them. In this case, 8 is a final. So let's say 8. And sure enough, you can see, even though we put the parentheses after it, that number 3 matches that it ends in 8. And so we pick up everything that ends in an 8. And like if we did a T, for example, this particular one only has a T as the first position, and it's still going to return that somewhere down in there. I should have ordered it by the name. The Touring, there was a bunch of them, sorry. So there you can see it right there, the Touring. Okay, so that one happened that it started with an A. Okay, I think those are pretty much the common questions people ask about like. So I tell you what, we're going to move on now to an exercise so that we can get some hands-on working with our single predicate queries. We're going to take a look in our first exercise at using the conditional operators. We'll come back after that. We'll do the in, the between, and the like.